Hi, my name is Bratanic, and today we will be talking to Her Excellency Atifete Jahjaga, former President of Kosovo. Your Excellency, welcome. Well, summer is here and people have already made plans for holidays like yourself. Are Balkan states ready for reopening of the borders? Will that exact the price come autumn?
Thank you, Jan. It is a pleasure to be a part of this outstanding conference. Well, yes, we are reopening the borders and the economy in part because all the states in the region have begun the massive vaccination campaigns. They have secured vaccines, and generally there is a better understanding on how to manage any outbreak in cases. There is also a better testing in place, and many of those traveling from Western Europe, where we have a large diaspora, have already been vaccinated. There is also an urgency to reopen the economy, especially the countries that depend a lot on tourism, such as Croatia, Montenegro, and Albania. And most of the region, as you already know, has suffered from a great economic contraction. So it's also very important that we are aware of that, but at the same time, to continue to keep the public health situation under the control.
Mm. Well, the governments in the region have had mixed results in their fight against COVID. For instance, Kosovo government fell partly also because of the virus. What do you think the region has learned from the pandemic?
Jan, yes, for many countries around the world, even those more resourceful and more developed than the Balkans, the COVID-19 presented an unprecedented crisis. It tested our national emergency preparation, it challenged our health system, it brought our economies to halt, and most importantly, had touched us all personally and profoundly. The one big lessons we have all learned, whether you are in Pristina, London, New York, or Doha, we are all interdependent and heavily reliant on wealthier and more developed nations, as well as our multilateral organization to lead the way in helping us weather this crisis. And having said that, it was a wake-up call for everyone. In places like Balkans, and more specifically in the country like Kosovo, our resources are limited, but the COVID-19 crisis has served as a reminder that we need to prioritize our health and emergency planning at the same time.
Mm. But while the EU has been focusing on the virus, the EU enlargement process has stalled. Have the countries in the region done enough to join the Union, in your view?
Well, it's not secret that the European Union is going through its own crisis, and for the region, membership in the EU has, to put it bluntly, became a moving target. But we are encouraged that countries such as Albania and Northern Macedonia have taken reforms required by the EU as crucial to their own improvements. And even though membership might still be off, it is without a doubt a beneficial process that everyone involved to not only adopt necessary laws, but also to implement them. And fortunately, in these past few years, there has been democratic backsliding in the region, as well as autocratic tendencies. EU candidate states such as Serbia are more prone to adopt and implement the illiberal policies than embrace the reforms. So having said that, the region needs another push to embrace democratic reforms and liberal values as the core guiding principles. This push means more clarity from the EU so that the membership becomes the goal. And it's not only about the processes. And the danger of this process dragging on will cement nationalistic forces, the very same ones that have thrown it into recession into the last 3 decades.
Mm-hmm. So you would say that nationalist tendencies, or a danger of being a small player in a geopolitical world, are the main dangers of, for instance, Kosovo vying away from the EU path?
Well, if there is not a quick process of the acceleration towards the EU perspective, then the danger is quite accurate to this trend.
You mentioned Serbia before, and Serbia and Kosovo remain at odds. It seems they didn't make any progress in recent talks in Brussels. What must happen for their relationships to mend?
Well, Jan, it's pretty simple. Serbia needs to recognize Kosovo's independence. It needs simply to let Kosovo go. The encouraging fact is that there is an ongoing dialogue between Kosovo and Serbia, but an endless dialogue serves nobody and serves nobody. Currently, the EU-mediated dialogue has no end goal and no time frame, and two sides that have drifted further away from reaching an agreement.
Well, Republic of Kosovo is recognized as an independent state, but by more than 100 countries across the world. How is the recognition campaign going on, and how do you comment on Serbian efforts to undo what Pristina has done so far?
Kosovo has achieved much progress in consolidating itself internationally. It is recognized by over 100 countries around the world. And unfortunately, Kosovo is also tangled up in the geopolitical complexities beyond its control. Countries that have not recognized Kosovo rarely have issues with what Kosovo is or what Kosovo has become. It is simply about their domestic disputes and geopolitical considerations. And as I said earlier, Serbia has a chance and should have a chance to open a new chapter in our relations and our future. Kosovo's independence is irreversible, and we are here to stay. When Serbia decides to recognize this reality, it will free the entire region, the whole region and itself, and we truly unleash our potential as the region in general.